What if you were taking in an extra half a cup of added sugar per day, not from obviously sweet things such as sodas or candy, but from foods that are actually marketed as healthy? So you think you're eating healthy food, but these foods are actually adding and contributing to your blood sugar levels being out of control. Now, an extra half a cup of sugar per day is actually equal to 3.5 cups of added sugar per week, which is 14 cups of added sugar per month, and that is a whopping 168 cups of added sugar per year. That's 10 gallons of added sugar, and that's a huge deal when you think about the fact that at any one point in time, the amount of sugar in our bloodstream should be no more than 4 grams, which is 1 teaspoon. So this is a huge deal. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 foods marketed as healthy foods, which actually have significant amounts of added sugar. It varies depending on the brand, but after you see these examples, you will be more aware that you have to really pay attention to your labels, and you might actually get a good idea as to why your blood sugar levels might be out of control when you're doing or seemingly doing everything that you're told by your doctor, right? All right, so we're going to dive into these 7 examples. Now, the first example is granola bars. Now, a common brand from back in the day was Nature Valley brand granola bars, and I remember those bars. I used to love them. They were nice and crunchy, a good sweet taste, and just overall a very good flavor. Now, those granola bars marketed as healthy for you, fiber rich, etc., they actually have on average 12 grams of sugar. Now, this is Nature Valley. They're different flavors, and of course they're different brands. So some brands of granola bar will have more than 12 grams of sugar. Every 4 grams of sugar is equal to 1 teaspoon. The recommended daily allowance for added sugar is no more than 6 teaspoons, which is the same as 24 grams. Because like I said, every 1 teaspoon is 4 grams. So if you're having a Nature Valley that has 12 grams of added sugar, that's 3 teaspoons of sugar just from that snack bar, which means you have only 3 teaspoons of added sugar remaining for the rest of your day to add up to your total daily allowance. All right. So this healthy food, you've gotten already half of your daily allowance from one little Nature Valley granola bar. Second example is Chobani yogurt, another one of my former favorites. I used to love Chobani yogurt, fruit on the bottom, but unfortunately that yogurt, and I think I was looking at this for today's video, and currently I'm seeing about 10 grams of added sugar in a container of Chobani fruit flavored yogurt. I thought it was more back in the day. I somehow remember it was about 16 grams, but maybe I'm mistaken. But I do know a lot of brands are actually decreasing the amount of sugar in their foods because everybody's becoming more, well, not everybody, many of you are becoming more aware of the dangers of added sugar, right? So about 10 grams of added sugar in one little container of Chobani yogurt. I remember I used to have at least 2 of those per day, but in that one container of 10 grams, that is 2.5 teaspoons, right? So 10 divided by 4, you get 2.5 teaspoons in that one container of yogurt. If you have 2, that's 5 teaspoons. You have only 1 teaspoon of sugar left to complete your total daily allowance. All right. So yes, seemingly healthy, but if you're going to want yogurt, then you're better off choosing the plain yogurt, and then you can add your own fruit and not add sugar. All right. Third example, meal replacement shakes. Again, a former favorite of mine. I used to personally love Ensure. Ensure is marketed as medical. They have all it's from a pharmaceutical company, and they have all the vitamins and minerals and so on, and you think it's like a medically acceptable food. Now, Ensure these days, it has about 9 grams of added sugar, because what they've done over the years, when I used to drink Ensure, it actually had 24 grams of sugar, which is the limit for daily sugar intake, 24 grams, but now it's down to 9 to 10 grams, and that's because they've now added sucralose. Nevertheless, that 9 grams is 2.25 teaspoons, 9 divided by 4. So you still have about 1/3 of your daily allowance of Ensure. I remember I used to drink about 2 of them. Some patients drink 3 Ensures per day along with their meals to help supplement their caloric intake. So you can imagine that 3 bottles of Ensure will be giving you your maximum daily allowance of sugar, and that's excluding all the other things that you might be drinking throughout the day or eating throughout the day as well. Now, that's one example. There are many other brands, and some of them will have more than 9 grams of added sugar. In fact, sugar is the second ingredient. Actually, it's the third ingredient of Ensure. The first ingredient is water. The second is maltodextrin, which is actually a simple starch, and it actually carries up your blood glucose levels higher than normal sugar. And then the third ingredient is sugar. So Ensure meal replacement shake, it really is it's a sugar drink. All right. Fourth example, sports drinks. Now, sports drinks, I was never into sports drinks, but I know sports drinks are a common thing for hospitalized patients. A lot of patients Me back in the day didn't like things that weren't sweet, pure water. So a lot of people have flavored waters. Gatorade is a very popular brand, and I see a lot of patients bringing their family members will bring Gatorade in for them because it's marketed as this healthy thing. Athletes, very fit, healthy athletes drink these things. They're on the bottle advertising this drink, but unfortunately one bottle of Ensure actually has 34 grams of added sugar. That is 8.5 teaspoons, one more than your recommended daily allowance just in that one bottle. And many people would find themselves drinking 2 and 3 bottles of Gatorade. All right, so way too much added sugar, and it's sugar in its simplest form, liquid form. It's going to go straight into your bloodstream. Avoid these sports drinks. Even sports people, I mean, maybe they can because they like exercising and burning a lot of energy, but for anybody else, these sports drinks should be a no-no. Fifth example, fruit smoothies. My. These are some of the worst culprits. I mean, I've seen smoothies with up to 56 grams of sugar, 40 something plus grams of added sugar, and then the extra sugar from the fruit. A common example, V8 Splash fruit smoothie that has 18 grams of added sugar, right? And that's about 4.5 teaspoons because again, we divide 18 by 4. And so you get about 4.5 teaspoons of added sugar in one little bottle of V8 Splash. So you have about 1.5 teaspoons left to max out your daily limit. So yes, fruit smoothie has a lot of carrots and all those things, but packed with sugar, and liquid sugars are a no-no for anybody who's trying to be healthy, right? Sixth example, plant milks. Now, for a point, I would drink some almond milk, for what it was worth. But these plant milks, I mean, they have to do a lot to get them to have that thicker, rich taste like regular cow's milk. And part of what they do to help them to taste better is to add a lot of sugar. A lot of times too, they water them down. So to make it nice and creamy, you would have to use a lot of almonds or a lot of macadamia nuts, and that makes it more expensive. So to have it to be a little more affordable, they use less nuts, put fillers, and put sugar in it to help it to taste good. So, typical brand of almond milk would have about 7 grams of sugar per 1 cup serving. That's 1 down from 8 grams. So basically it's almost 2 teaspoons of sugar just in 1 little cup of almond milk. Now imagine if you put some granola in that and some other things and maybe even add some sugar, then you really are increasing your sugar amount that you're consuming just at that one point in time. All right, so those nut milks are huge culprit, right? And then the seventh and final example I'm going to talk about is trail mix. Another, supposedly healthy food, kind of like granola. The trail mix usually would say, it says rich in nuts, it's protein rich. But a lot of times these trail mixes, even though they have nuts, they have fewer nuts and more sweetened things. They would have dried fruit, but oftentimes when you look, the dried fruit is actually candied. So it's not, in fact, almost always. In fact, it's hard for me to find dried fruit that doesn't have added sugar in these trail mixes. So you have to look very carefully. They'll put cranberries and say that they're antioxidant rich berries, but you will see again candied. And so a lot of times the trail mix will have 4 grams of sugar minimum, right? In one case, one example, Planters, it had a lot of M&Ms, and so it had 6 grams of added sugar, but that's per serving, and each serving was 3 tablespoons. Now, who is going to have 3 tablespoons only of something that tastes really, really good? Chances are you're going to have way more than the serving, and so you'd end up with more than 6 grams, which is 1.5 teaspoons. You end up with more than 1.5 teaspoons in one go. So basically, I'm, doing this video to let you know that don't take labels at face value. Just because something is supposed to be healthy, which anybody would think a granola bar is healthy, you would think a yogurt is healthy, you would think a fruit smoothie is healthy because it has natural, fruit, it might say organic, all these things, non-GMO, gluten-free, all the badges, right? No aspartame. But when you look at them, you flip the label and you really delve into the details, such a big culprit, Gatorade, you look at it and you see the amount of sugar is way, way more than the recommended daily allowance. And by the end of the day, you've had half a cup of added sugar. By the end of the week, you've had 3.5 cups of added sugar just from these snacks. So I'm not talking about the juices, the regular juices you might have with your food or some other things in between. But you can really see how your numbers can add up. Always look at your labels. That's the message from today's video. Do not assume something is healthy just because the marketing people from a company stated that it's healthy. In fact, if something has a label, assume it's unhealthy until otherwise proven, which will be until you turn the label, look at the ingredient list, see if there's any sugar at all listed in the ingredient list, especially if it's in the first 5 of the list of ingredients, and then look at that bar chart, which tells you how much added sugar under the carbohydrate section. And ultimately, you never want to have more than 6 teaspoons of added sugar per 24-hour period, which is the same as 24 grams. Never more than 24 grams. So keep a running tally of your added sugar intake, and definitely try to stop when you hit that 24-gram mark. If you can have less than 24 grams, the closer to 0, the better, right? In my case, I was one of these people having half a cup and more of added sugar per day. And now my added sugar intake is about 2 or less teaspoons. In fact, some days it's 0 teaspoons or 0 grams per day, all right? So I hope you all found this helpful. If you did, definitely share it with somebody else who you think would benefit from this very helpful information. And I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.